The Ring of Fire, the story of Earth's restless rim. The Ring of Fire is not a mythical legend, but a very real and powerful geographical phenomenon. It is a 25,000-mile, 40,000-kilometer horseshoe-shaped belt that loops around the basin of the Pacific Ocean. This ring is the undeniable stage for the planet's most dramatic geological performances. Approximately 90% of the world's earthquakes and 75% of its volcanoes occur along this path. This is not a coincidence. It is the direct and spectacular result of the single most important theory in modern geology, plate tectonics. The engine beneath our feet. The story begins not on the surface, but deep below. The Earth's outer shell, the lithosphere, is not a solid, unbroken eggshell. It is shattered into a dozen major and several minor pieces called tectonic plates. These plates are constantly, imperceptibly moving, drifting at about the speed your fingernails grow. They float on the hot, semi-fluid layer beneath them, the asthenosphere, which churns like a pot of thick soup on a slow boil. This convection is the engine that drives the plates. The Ring of Fire exists because of the way these plates interact at their boundaries. Specifically, it is defined by a process called subduction, the dance of destruction and creation, subduction. Imagine two massive tectonic plates converging or moving toward each other. One plate, usually a denser oceanic plate, meets a less dense continental plate, or another oceanic plate. The denser plate loses the battle and is forced downward, bending and sliding deep into the Earth's mantle. This is subduction. The subducting plate is subjected to immense heat and pressure as it descends. This process has three catastrophic and creative consequences. 1. Megathrust earthquakes. The plates don't slide past each other smoothly. They get locked together by friction for decades or even centuries. Stress builds and builds until it finally overcomes the friction, causing the plates to lurch violently past each other. This releases centuries of stored energy in minutes, creating the most powerful earthquakes on Earth, known as megathrust earthquakes. The 2004 Sumatra-Andaman earthquake and subsequent Indian Ocean tsunami, and the 2011 Tohoku earthquake and tsunami that triggered the Fukushima nuclear disaster are horrific examples of this phenomenon. 2 volcanic arcs. As the oceanic plate descends, it carries with it water-rich sediments and minerals. At about 6,100 miles, 150 kilometer deep, the immense heat and pressure sweat this water out of the plate. This water lowers the melting point of the hot mantle rock above it, causing it to melt and form magma. This magma is less dense than the surrounding rock, so it begins to rise, working its way through the crust like a blister. Eventually, it erupts onto the surface, forming volcanoes. Because this happens in a line parallel to the trench where the plate is subducting, it creates long, curved chains of volcanoes called volcanic arcs. These arcs are the iconic landmarks of the Ring of Fire. The Andes in South America, Nazca Plate subducting under the South American Plate. The Cascades in the Pacific Northwest, USA, Juan de Fuca Plate subducting under the North American Plate, home to Mount St. Helens. The Aleutian Islands of Alaska, Pacific Plate subducting under the North American Plate. The Japanese Archipelago, Pacific Plate subducting under the Okhotsk Plate. The Philippines and New Zealand, complex zones of multiple plates subducting. 3. Ocean trenches. The point where the plate begins its descent creates a deep scar on the ocean floor. These are the deepest parts of the world's oceans, known as oceanic trenches. The Mariana Trench, the deepest point on Earth at nearly 36,000 feet, almost 11,000 meters below sea level, is a direct product of the Pacific Plate subducting beneath the Mariana Plate. The other characters, transform boundaries. While subduction is the star of the show, the Ring of Fire also features another type of plate boundary, the transform boundary. Here, two plates slide horizontally past one another. They also get stuck and release energy in violent jerks, causing major earthquakes. However, because no plate is being destroyed or magma created, there are typically no volcanoes along pure transform boundaries. The most famous example is the San Andreas Fault in California. Here, the Pacific Plate is grinding northward past the North American Plate. This fault is responsible for the infamous earthquakes that shake San Francisco and the region, proving that the ring's danger isn't limited to volcanoes and subduction quakes. The human chapter, living on the edge. The story of the Ring of Fire is also a human story. Roughly 75% of the world's population lives in areas affected by earthquakes and volcanoes. with a huge percentage residing along the Pacific Rim. This presents a paradox. The same subduction zones that threaten colossal disasters are also responsible for incredible blessings. Fertile land, volcanic ash breaks down into incredibly nutrient-rich soil, ideal for agriculture. This is why islands like Java, Indonesia, and countries like Japan can support dense populations. Geothermal energy. The immense heat from below can be harnessed for clean, renewable energy. Countries like Iceland, which is also on a tectonic boundary though not part of the Pacific Ring, and New Zealand are leaders in this field. Mineral resources. Volcanic activity is responsible for concentrating valuable minerals and metals, including copper, silver, and gold. Living on the Ring of Fire means balancing these blessings with immense risk. It has shaped cultures, inspired myths and religions, and driven advancements in science and engineering, from ancient earthquake-resistant Inca masonry to modern Japanese tsunami warning systems. The never-ending story. The Ring of Fire is not a static location. It is a live broadcast of Earth's evolution. The earthquakes are the sudden jarring movements of the plates. The volcanoes are the planet's pressure release valves, breathing out the gases and molten rock from its interior. It is a story of destruction and creation, where mountains are built in moments of catastrophic violence, islands are born from the sea, and the very map of our world is slowly, inexorably being redrawn. It is the most visible and powerful expression of the fact that our planet is and always will be profoundly alive.